Hey everyone, welcome. Good to see you all. The music is way too loud. Give me a second. Okay, music is done. Hello DJ, do you hear me?
I do. Greetings, travelers. How are you all today?
I was watching. I was so busy watching what you were doing. I didn't notice that the stream already started.
I'm taking a look at the studio or studios that you've got going on here.
Yep.
Some pretty neat work you got here. I like this. Some interesting designs.
Yep. So
which one do you want to go to today?
I don't know. We can have a look around. I definitely. This is done by, if I remember correctly, Eve Kana. Let me just double check. Eve Kana, yes.
Okay.
So this was the basis we did for the the challenge.
Okay.
The challenge. So there were two people that built a studio. I really like this sitting corner here. This is
the fireplace is really nice.
Very cozy.
Yeah, the fireplace.
The only thing I might have to do is add some lights because it's a little bit too dark to make see a scene.
Yeah. That was one of the problems I had while building a studio myself. It's really hard to light the studio and have your guests lit like they're on the spotlight.
Yeah. I'm just going to go in camera mode so I can show a bit more. It's really good. It was a nice work.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the Eve Kana. She's now and then in the stream. I'm not sure if she uses the same name in stream on YouTube as she, but I do like the details with the little offices here that seem to be the editing corners and stuff as well. Very cool.
Yep.
Nice use of the spades as the tripod.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really nice. Little garden at the back. We got a little chair in the back here. That's very nice. They did a really nice job.
Yeah. The only thing as well here, what I might have to do is scale down the table a bit because this is not great for
Oh, you need a booster seat.
You know, I'm a little bit too small for this, so I do need to do some adjustments here to use that corner. But I definitely like that one. Is definitely cool for a little bit of a sitting area. This I definitely like as a interview corner. Very cool.
Yeah, yeah. The fireplace is actually exquisite. Really, really nice job. I like how they did this. It's well framed. Using those stones in particular has a really nice look. Yep.
So if I put some lights on the floor here to kind of light up the area, we should be okay for the interview room.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is by Japanese.
Yes.
I love what they did. Look at here. I didn't even notice that before. Have you seen in the camera? Look at the camera. In the back of the camera.
Oh, that's very cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
Really, really nice job. Yeah, really nice job. I like what they did with the tripod here. And of course, the back of the camera, their viewing sphere, or the viewing thing there, that's pretty good. Really nice job. You know, the color of this one and the design on the back wall really, really catches my eye. I actually really, really like that look. He's done an excellent job with the lighting too.
Yes, it's a very modern look, you know.
Yeah. This one actually really catches my eye. I really like this one. The purple color, especially. I don't know what it is about that color, but it really stands out well in this particular room on the stage. Very nice job.
Very well done. This is a bit better because, first of all, this is a upside down sofa.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a little bit more, see? Much better.
There you go.
It's a little bit higher so I can see, you know, at least.
Yeah. I like the logo right on the front there, the bee. Excellent. Very nice job.
The cable frame is missing. There might be a wire hider down there because I do have something with a wire somewhere. It's very cool.
Yeah. When was this contest?
April, I think.
In April. Okay. I didn't have access to the thread, so I was not able to see the contests.
Yeah, I talked about it in Studio 16, but you were there. I said we're gonna do a challenge for this month. Were you not there?
If I was, I don't remember.
Anyway, I think we were talking about doing a challenge, a build challenge, to make studios, and then anybody that added it, I would add to the studio here as kind of a large area with all, you know, different kinds of backgrounds and studios. And
very nice. Yeah, the detail work on these are really, really good.
So what do? We sit in one of these. I think it might be smart to, although, what do you think? Is this okay? Because you're sitting really far away now in the back there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, we're still chatting in voice. How does it look if I'm sitting here?
Let me see.
How does it look on camera?
How does this look, guys? This looks a little bit... I might have to move the chairs forward a bit. I don't know. It's just like, hey, how you doing there in the back? You good?
The peanut gallery at the back.
So I think I might have to move the chairs forward. I don't know.
Yeah, that might
because it feels a bit antisocial.
Yeah. I think they're put there just sort of to space things out nicely, but once you're sitting them, they're a little bit far back.
So yeah, that's so I will have to do some adjustments. So maybe we just go to the original one first, and then I'll do some work. Might be the smartest one to.
Great. Very nice job. Very nice job.
It's very cool.
It's not easy building a studio. Yeah, it's not easy building a studio and thinking of lighting and everything.
No, the lighting is actually the hardest part.
It really is. Yeah. Put the icon and click. There we go.
Let's put that into the frame. And it's of course late night, so let's put the sun down. Am I stuck on the camera? I am stuck on the camera.
Hello. Hello, everyone on stream. I'm sorry if I haven't said anything in chat, but there's a lot of people we got in here today. 51 watching already. That's fantastic. Great to see you all.
Hey guys, good to see you all. Welcome. It's very quiet now. I'm not even hearing my fire anymore.
No fire crackle?
No?
I don't hear it either. But then again, I've got my audio volume turned down.
You used to hear your fire, no, when I was going in photo mode?
You used to, yeah.
King, thank you for being a man for 19 months. 19 months wasted. Face King. Catherine, the challenge is still open. As all the challenges, you can always try them out and build something. I I don't know how I can get this to make sound then, because now it's very quiet.
Are your sound effects turned up? Let's take a look at the options here.
SFX is on 30, yeah. No, the fire just stops now. So that's something new.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make noise while you guys talk.
I do wish they would make that fire a little bit more orange.
I wonder if, well, it doesn't matter. I would say if there's a mod, but it wouldn't change for you.
No, it wouldn't change for me, unfortunately.
Anyway, I got my whiskey. I think you have your coffee.
I do.
Skang, once again, thank you for the £5. Appreciate that as well. 07 to Skang. And Worky, thank you for being a member for 2 months, 2 years now. Appreciate that. All right. We are back, DJ. It's been a while.
It has. It's been a couple of months. Last month we skipped a month, and well, here we are again now today. So welcome back. And it's great to sit in the co-pilot's chair here and talk about No Man's Sky.
I think the first thing we should talk about is the passing of a good friend and content creator, Zoo, because it's been a big shock for all of us, and I think it's definitely important to cover that again one more time.
Yeah, that one hit a lot of us really, really hard. Zoo was loved by many, and his channel was very successful, and so he had a lot of fans who were extremely saddened and shocked by his loss. I guess first and foremost, we can say, we wish his family, best wishes and our condolences and love and support, and just very tragic. So it's hard to talk about it, to be honest with you. It's been a hard month for a lot of people. There's been a lot of death and unexpected passings that have gone on this month. Unfortunately, he's not the only one. There's been several people who have passed away this month.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, that's what I was thinking as well. There was a few people, they should do this for Zoo or do that for Zoo, but I was like, there's so many people that are playing No Man's Sky that are not content creators, but they are also influential, or they are, meaning a lot for a lot of people. So I think it would be nice. It would be nice if there's like a either we have to do it. I don't know. I was talking, I think it was with Possess, and I said I think there's actually already a day where we have like Remembrance Day, but I'm not entirely sure.
There is in Canada, and I know in the United States, there is a Remembrance Day.
No, I mean like organized in No Man's Sky as like creators and stuff coming together to remember all the members and players that have passed away. Or
I don't know if there is or not, or if it was a makeshift day that we used. I know that there's been a couple of planets that we built on over the last couple of years for some of Fallen Travelers. But I think at this point in time, after several years of the game and all of its community members, that there probably should be an actual day where we all have a day of remembrance, and it should be heavily promoted so that a lot of people are aware of it and what day that they should be out there remembering those fallen and lost travelers. So we'll have to figure that out as to when that should be, and get with some of the crew members who have put together the previous planets. I think Meow and Moose Gaming might be a couple of people we can talk to about that. They organized event planets as well for this type of thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like when Beiderbecke passed away, then they also did something like a planet.
Yes. Yes, they did.
I think Cadena was probably remembered on probably Survival Bob and Jason Plays like planets. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it was definitely some builds done.
Yeah, I think there was a system that was for her.
Mhm.
And I know Biterback has a system, but yeah, it's one of those kinds of things. And it's really hard because there's only so many uploads that you can
Yeah,
put on a
true,
single
true.
planet. So when you've got so many people who want to build a form of remembrance for them, it's really hard because when with so many builds, things fall off the list. You only get
Mhm.
about 100 uploads, and so things roll off of the list, and they need to either be re-uploaded, or perhaps a system for each and every traveler,
Mhm.
or something. I'm not really sure how that would all work, but um, it would be kind of neat if HG would to recognize a specific system so that it could be promoted a little bit easier, or perhaps the Nexus would take you to one of those systems where
Mhm.
the roll off is not quite as harsh, as well, and
Yeah,
people can't vandalize it either.
yeah, no,
I
no,
do know
no,
that there was a couple of
which was
yeah.
ridiculous. I don't understand some people. Um, No, I was thinking, it would be great sentiment of Hello Games, for example, to put a statue in the anomaly, like as a remembrance to fallen travelers or something. That would be a
Yeah,
nice thing, but not with names, because I think it would be a bit weird to just single people out about this.
yeah,
Um,
a single statue or a monument that is just
mhm,
there, that's nicely lit, and people can go there and just sort of admire it a little bit and think and remember. That might be a good way to go, instead of
mhm.
instead of maybe thousands of builds on a single planet, which unfortunately a lot of those builds, they roll off
Disappear.
of the
Yeah,
upload list.
disappear. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and not to mention build limits can also affect that as well, right?
yeah,
When you go to high complexity builds, I guess the term we use here is cracking a planet,
yeah, yeah.
and that can happen. Yeah.
We know a few builders that can do that on their own.
Oh yes.
Um, but yeah. No, I was when I heard the news, I was immediately thinking about the interview we'd had, and like maybe I should make a little bit of a quick cut of the interview we had with Zoo as a, I don't know, it was just a moment. But on the other hand, I didn't know what to do with it. So, but it was
It's
good to
hard
have
to
him.
remember
Yeah,
somebody. Yeah, the right thing to do, and all those things. So what do you do that was considered the right thing to do, or the classy thing to do, or what have you.
mm-hmm.
I think the best thing that we can do is not forget their names,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the best way to remember somebody, is just don't forget, and keep those good times in your memory,
Mm-hmm.
because that is the best way to honor somebody, is to remember them, who they are, and their accomplishments in life, and of course for us in game as well. So um, yeah, our definitely deepest condolences to all of those travelers who have lost, most recently Zoo, and yeah, so um,
Mm-hmm.
just terrible, very tragic, but yeah.
No, but he's out here, guys. You can find him. You can find everybody that has fallen as a traveler. There is always something to be found back, even if it's a memory, if it's a build, if it's things you have done together, names that people have discovered. They are there, discovered by that person. So they are always part of No Man's Sky, that's for sure.
Yeah, those names, those systems that have been named, those are in the discoveries list, and in the server for HG. They're not going anywhere, so they'll always be there. And that might be another way to go as well, or having specific protected systems that are always in the discovery list.
Yeah. So anyway, for the people that are not aware of that, on the 15th of, Saturday now, the 15th of July, they will be doing a remembrance for Zoo. Check out Ricey Starship. And I think, who else is going to stream? Flowery Squirrel I will not stream on Saturday. I will just leave it for them. By the way, I'm having a cold, so I'm hopefully this is not going worse, but reduces. If it doesn't improve, I might not even be able to join chat or whatever. We'll see. Depends a bit on my nose and throat. So definitely check out Pricey, Flowery. I'm sure they will be streaming for sure on the 15th.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm certain those two were affected heavily.
Yeah, I think they were also the closest now recently with him as well. So they were doing a lot of streams together and stuff.
Yeah, they were part of the team stream that they would do. I believe that was Wednesdays. I think they did the team streams, and they they had a really good thing going where one stream would end and the next one would pick up, and then after that one, then they would transfer over to another person who was in the team, and they would have this whole all-day event of streaming. Yeah, it's not a new thing, but it was a great way of keeping the viewers watching and also very well entertained, right? A couple of hours of each streamer, and it was basically, it kept people busy and happy all day long. Very interactive and a lot of fun, and there were some really great streams.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna have to send a message, guys, DJ, just to see if our guest remembers for tonight.
Has he not arrived yet? No.
I'm keeping an eye. I was keeping an eye on the green room. I wasn't sure if it was there or not.
I know our guest has a very busy life in real life as well. So something may have come up. I hope not, and we get a chance to chat with him. Our guest is a really interesting person, and I've had the opportunity to chat with him interview style once before, years ago, many years ago, when I first started doing interviews, and it was enlightening, some of the things that he said. And I've always taken a lot of things that he said as myself as a content creator, and used it for good use. But I'm looking forward to today. I hope he hasn't forgotten.
There we go. I'm just, it might be either forgot or he's so busy that he's just going to jump in last minute. We'll see, but we'll see. There we go.
All right. You need a steady cam operator.
The problem is I'm having two mice, and I need to be careful that I take the right one. Let me just put that
right.
There we go. Nope. Let me just use my controller a bit. There we go. All right.
Who's your camera operator? You need to fire him.
Are we drinking my whiskey?
Oh dear.
So anyway, guys, we're gonna have Kyle over today. Hopefully, got a message. Let's see. No.
It'll take a minute to respond.
So we got, normally Kyle Culver is joining us. Kyle is actually a really great content creator on YouTube. I think he's definitely underestimated, underrated.
For certain.
Yes. He does some great cinematics, great storytelling with just images and music. I would definitely say go and check him out if you have not already. If you're interested in like a recap of Walking Titan, for example, as well, he did a great recap of all the steps of Walking Titan. If you're interested in the ARG that happened before the release of Atlas Rises.
Yeah, that was the first one, the original that they had. It was, I guess going on what, 6 years, 5 years now. It was a while.
Yeah, 5 years. Yeah.
A lot of fun, very interactive. I'm currently waiting to see where the new ARG is going. We haven't heard an awful lot from the group that's made put the ARG together. So looking forward to more information that comes available as we find
Yeah.
out. There's been a lot of speculation. I've seen a lot of speculation. I choose not to take part in the speculation and just think on my own and use my own mind. But I'm hoping that this next go around with the ARG is going to be just as exciting and interactive with the community.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel, if you compare it with the ARG for Waking Titan, this feels a little bit less intense, but it might also just be the introduction to. That's what I'm not sure about. We'll have to see how this.
Yeah. Well, they have to build up a little bit of momentum for it, and some excitement, and get people excited to take part in the ARG again. And so they might be giving it a bit of time to get people to sink into the new update, the expedition, some of the lore that they've released, and just sort of get the wheels turning a little bit. So it's hard to say, but I'm very hopeful that this is going to be another fantastic ARG event for the community, and yeah, anybody can take part in it, and it should be very interactive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the whole point of it, right? So yeah.
No, I did enjoy the hidden secret messages, which seem to definitely lead to something quite extensive. It also feels like it's tightening up a lot of the lore, fitting together now. So I'm definitely looking forward to where that goes. Did I just lose DG?
No, I'm still here. I had a signal drop out there for a minute. My apologies. I have construction going on in the background here, so if I go quiet for a while, it's not you. I've muted my microphone. They've decided today is a great day to bring out all the heavy equipment and dig up my road right outside my window. So you gotta love the city work.
I'm seeing some movement on the chat room with the. I'll be available in like an hour and a half. Oh, okay, guys. We I think we're gonna have to reschedule.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to reschedule that one.
Oh, we're gonna keep on talking then. It's just gonna be you and me.
Yeah, that's a shame, but we'll have to do this another time, possibly next month.
I was hoping to put some daylight as well. Some light on Kyle, because I think he definitely deserves some more attention. So definitely check him out. Check out his channel. Subscribe if you have not already. Watch some of his videos, and we'll try to get him back next time in the Studio 16.
Yeah, he's extremely underrated for the content that he puts out, and he's been doing it for years. He's very, very skilled and very, very, very good at what he does. I can't say enough about some of the things that he'll freely talk about it. So he's very open, and he'll tell you exactly what he does and what he's doing. He's just very, very, very good at it, and I think his cinematics are.
Yes, definitely.
I will go so far as to say is unmatched within other content creators out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely well done and very well edited. His choice of music and imaging and video editing as well, very, very clean. Always a pleasure watching his films. I have my notifications turned on every single time that he puts a new one out there. I'm watching it, even if it's just a little short. But yeah, fantastic content creator, and one of the first content creators that I really got to know and look up to. So I'm hoping next month we'll get a chance to talk with him.
Yeah, I'll send him another message with. Although, wait, next month is August, no?
August.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It should be. It depends a bit on what is going to happen.
We may have an update. Yeah, we may have an update. So
we'll see. But yeah, no worries. So he's not going to be able to make it. He actually put the wrong time down. which is happens. This happens with the time zones and stuff like that. These things mix up. Yeah, but when I saw Kyle, I was like, Kyle's videos, like, this itch always comes, like, you know what, I would also want to make one of these again, but it's
actually does the Twitch drops as well. I don't know if anybody's aware of that, but he streams the Twitch drops 24/7 as well.
Okay.
He has a loop of all his cinematics, or not all, but some of his favorite cinematics, and it's he does both YouTube and Twitch.
Okay.
He's really great to watch. If you guys haven't seen his work, you really should.
I didn't know he had actually a Twitch channel as well.
He does, yes.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, let's talk about a bit of ARG then. Have you digged in yourself in the ARG, or you just been watching videos about it?
Mostly just been watching a few videos about it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of speculation and a lot of little hints dropped, when you read the lore and things like that about the singularity. Mostly I'm just sort of waiting for the next step to happen, and then sort of really dig in and get involved in it. Initially, I was very excited and talked an awful lot about it in my own community of the cafe. And it's kind of like died down a little bit, and we're all just sort of waiting for that next move. So I haven't really talked about it in about a couple of weeks now, I guess it's been.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's something I'm really looking forward to. I think some of these hints are pretty obvious, when you play the game and when you play the new expedition. Whoa, your camera. You're gonna have to tape your mouse down so it doesn't move.
Stop moving the camera, you idiot.
Professional whiskey drinker.
It's probably it's the Viking today. Let's know the camera work.
Oh dear.
Clumsy.
Probably more steady with a gun.
Yeah, I was very intrigued with the ARG, and when I was figuring out all the hidden codes and stuff like that, and the names of the systems, and the codes in the text when you find the monolith. It's all very interesting, and it did definitely reinvigorate my interest in the lore. But for the moment, that's all. There's no very, very intriguing other stuff. Like Walking Titan was very, very interesting because it had to do with real life stuff, and the secrets were really hard to figure out.
Yeah, they had some really good mental puzzles. So far, to my knowledge, nobody has received any tapes or communication from the ARG or HG regarding the ARG. So, like I said, I'm just sort of waiting for the next move. I've been waiting to hear amongst the community if some form of communication is sent out, anything. Last time around, we had tapes being sent out to people.
I'm having my fingers crossed. I'm having my fingers crossed for when the meetup happens in UK. Some creators get something there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's coming up pretty soon again, isn't it?
Sean, it's a chance, no? Sean?
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. I mean, it would be a good idea to give something extra. I don't know. I still don't know what we can expect from it, though. Is it an update for No Man's Sky, or is it the announcement for the new IP? That's what I'm still confused about.
That's a good question. And of course, we've got a whole new market with the Mac iOS, coming to No Man's Sky. I'm hoping that that is going to lead to the mobile devices, iPads. I don't know about iPhones, but iPads would be nice to play mobile. We've got a few mobile devices which currently play No Man's Sky, the Steam Deck and the Switch. So it only seems natural to see the
Mm.
iPads and iPhones adapted to that as well.
I think they stepped away from the iPad though. If I recall correctly, the last news letters and stuff seem to be only focused on Mac. They seem to have stepped away
Yeah,
from the iPad.
yeah, they haven't talked about it at all. It's almost like they've forgotten it existed. It's only the Mac Pro and the Mac that they've promoted being
Yeah,
available to play it on now. So
yeah. It has to have the what is it again? The that has to have a special chip. I think it's M1 or
yeah,
M2.
I can't remember which one it is, but yeah, you need
Mm,
the special chip. It's got to be all the brand new current stuff. And we all know how Apple and iPhones they operate. Every new iteration, they come out with a new one with new proprietary chips and plugs and everything else. So yeah, breaking through to Apple is probably harder than breaking through on Nintendo Switch. Um, and all these companies, these competitors out there, gaming competitors and computer software, nobody really likes to talk to each other. They all kind of hate each other. It's kind of funny, but
yeah. Well,
um,
I mean, there was a moment where everybody was kind of friendly to each other, but I think that has kind of shifted, and there's a lot of competition, quite ugly competition going on for the moment. So
yeah, sadly and unfortunately, yeah, the competition can make a lot of improvements and advancements in technology, but at the same time, it can also be kind of mean spirited as well and really
mhm.
cold hearted. So it would be nice if they sort of work together in the spirit of competition, but I don't think that's really in the cards. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Um, yes. Um, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I always had the feeling like now they dropped it on the Mac, that kind of felt like the final step. And I don't think we will see much updates anymore after this year.
Yeah,
Because
we've been
it
waiting for
really.
the
Hmm?
just saying that we've been waiting for well over a year now for Apple products to be brought out with No Man's Sky. I think we're all waiting for the mobile devices to become available to you play No Man's Sky on. It was a little unexpected that it was only the Mac, but I mean, at least now they're working with Apple on getting the game, on those users or at least on that interface. So I think it's a step forward, and I'm still very, very hopeful that their silence on the matter means that they are.
DJ?
Yeah, I'm still here. They're
Lost you a little bit.
yeah, they're cutting lines of concrete out there. They're being real creative with my signal today. Might have to throw eggs at the window.
Soon I'm gonna have to do this thing by myself. I don't have a guest. My co-host cuts out.
Oh, how rude! DG is gone. Oh dear. We also had difficulties getting linked up today. That it seems the experimental always seems to throw a monkey wrench into the plan.
Yeah.
When the experimental is on, you toggled it off, but I think for whatever reason, it still kind of it's like we were using this a while ago. Maybe we
Mm-hmm.
don't want to play multiplayer, but um, yeah,
They
we're here
used
together though.
there used to be an issue where especially this update, there were a lot of different versions. So Xbox was on that version, PlayStation was on that version, PC was on that version, Nintendo was way back, but they don't have multiplayer anyway. So nobody could join with each other in the different platforms crossplay because we're all on different versions. At least we cannot
It
join
makes
with each other.
Yeah, it makes for playing multiplayer very challenging. Those who film using multiple cross-platform devices, that pretty much stopped. That was really hard to do any film work whatsoever. Um, Myself, I've taken a little bit of break from filming and some content creating and focusing on a few other things. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the whole cross-platform and joining in multiplayer has really been difficult lately,
Mm-hmm.
coupled with some game crashes, which have been kind of very devastating to builders, at least. I've done a little bit of building and trying to get back into the swing of some building again on a more regular basis. But it's been difficult, I must say, trying to get your game to cooperate with what's going on in your head and trying to get those creative juices flowing.
Mm-hmm. Especially if things don't work or you have a crash, it also definitely influences your creativity and your motivation. So
it does, yeah.
So, and you have, if you have like this good thing going and you're like into the spirit of building, and then everything crashes, you lost half of your build because you didn't save.
I've been saving often, very often. It's like you put a part down. I've got a save pod right next to me. Quick save, real quick, because you never know when that next crash is coming.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're pretty devastating. I was watching Dave Enrisilver yesterday. Dave, you didn't even know I was there. I was lurking, but I was watching him. I think it was yesterday, and he had just finished. This whole series of glitches. And then his game crashed, and he blue screened, and you could see his head drop right away. Like, no, that's an hour's worth of work.
Yep.
That was a pretty devastating crash for him. Hopefully he was able to rebuild that. I didn't get a chance to see if he managed to recuperate what he had lost there, but yeah, he was glitching like a madman there. He was going crazy with stuff. But
yep. And that autosave only works when you start moving. If you are staying in your build camera, autosave doesn't do anything until you move a few steps further.
Yeah, it's kind of unique how that one works. Like, you can manipulate it a little bit if you kind of understand how the game mechanics work. I figured out a few months back that if you're inside of a base, the autosave doesn't save anything. You just continue building, and if you're in build camera and inside of a base, like an actual room, it stays. And if you were to try and manipulate that by creating a save when you want it to save, you could exit your base. And as soon as you exit that door, like into the open world, the autosave just kicks right on. And so, you could manipulate that and create a save, the autosave, just for that, and also have your hard save as well. And that would give you those two saves again. But remembering to do all those steps just to make a save is a little bit frustrating, when in the past all we had to do was, well, an autosave is our ship and a manual save is the save beacon, because you could just run over to your ship and do a quick save. But yeah, it takes a little getting used to manipulating the new save process.
Yeah.
I do like the old way. And those of you who may even remember, we used to have 3 saves. There was there's 2 auto saves and a manual save.
Was there 2 auto saves?
I believe so. Yeah. We had 3 at one time. This was, I think it was before even Atlas Rises.
Yeah.
A long time ago. Yeah.
You had to save for the manual save, you had to save for the ship, and you had another save then, or what?
There were 2 saves, so it would scroll down a list, right? So you make one save with your manual or ship. It didn't really matter, and it would, as you make the next save, it would scroll down this list of 3, and your most recent save was at the top. Second most recent.
Yeah. It was like a little bit of a backup save, yeah.
Yeah. I actually really preferred that. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to mute my microphone. They're banging up a storm. Hopefully you guys aren't disturbed by all that noise.
I'm not hearing any noise, by the way.
Oh, good. Then the noise suppression is working. But yeah, the save process was really, really kind of neat. I liked how they did it back then. And I would like to go back to a triple save. It was really good for, ship hunting, building, having backups at various points for what you needed. And we used it pretty heavily as well. Like, I think we all manipulated those ones really hard, especially for ship hunting. And base building wasn't really as popular back then, and we didn't have an awful lot of parts. I think the only parts we did have are the cuboid rooms and the adornment pieces.
Yes, yeah.
So we had all the prefabs, basic prefab pieces. But yeah, it's taken on a whole new world, and I think having appropriate saves that are more appropriate for building really needs to be addressed with HG. It's a part of the game which has taken on a whole new life of the game and all on its own.
Hmm.
That aspect is got its own real community, and a lot of content creators as well that stream the content that they're building. So I think in keeping the various different communities happy, I think it would probably be a really good idea if they addressed it and tried to give appropriate save methods for the builders out there or the ones that would be manipulating those saves, and not in a hacker kind of a way, right? In a safe way that
Yeah,
allows you to build.
because that's the problem. No, I mean, for example, the low orbit base technique definitely depended on the dual save system, so you always had a backup to return to.
Yes.
And if you're on PC, you can easily go in Save Editor and fix that. But it would be great. It would be definitely one option that I still think is very necessary is a base manager where you can go in and just delete the base from a manager. You don't have to go to the base computer. If you have like a base that is disappearing in the surface and you cannot reach it because it's invisible, that would be a great option. You go to the anomaly or to your freighter, go in there, open the build manager and say this base has to be deleted. That would be one way to...
Yeah, or even incorporate it with your teleporter list, right? Because all of our bases are accessed through the teleporter, whether there's a teleporter at your base or not, right? So, I mean, they could give us an option, in there to, you click on the base, and when you click in your teleporter, it gives you now the options of to go there. And I think that they could probably add a menu function in that field there that would allow us to delete a base, or who knows, maybe in the future, possibly even move it to a different location, to save that or back up a save of that base somehow. So there's definitely some really good things that could be done, and I'm sure there's a lot of ideas out there. You got 67 people watching, and probably 67 ideas that we can come up with.
I was hoping that they would. After I was playing Space Engineers, they have this workshop where you can actually share things with other players. So you say, I built this base, can make a blueprint of it, drop it in the workshop, somebody else can download it and then build it in their save. I think workshop would be a great way for players to, first of all, save their own bases and put them aside. And then when Hello Games decides, you know what, we need to do something drastically, these are all kind of saved. Or being able to, share, hey guys, you want to have a mining base? You found a good hotspot, but you're not a great glitch builder? Here, download this base here, drop it on that hotspot, and you have yourself a mining base. While I'm not a big fan of that, I do think it's a great way to bind community together even more.
There's some pluses and minuses for every kind of thing like that. I think the save editor is the only thing that we have in No Man's Sky that can do something like that. You can share some of those save edits, to other people, and that's been done as well before. I think we've seen some very familiar builds out there on Twitter and on Reddit that have been shared, and of course, placed down in other places as well, or components of some of those builds. So we've seen some of that as well. But it's not actually a part of the game. That is a mod that you can download and use. Is it Goat Fungus, I think, or I'm not sure, but
Goat Fungus. The save editor is Goat Fungus.
Yeah. So I dabbled a little bit with it, but I found it was far too easy for me to start editing things and making changes and things. Very much like what we consider the dupe, the duping methods. It's really easy to fall down that road and just start duping things and start save editing things and making changes to your save. I really enjoy the whole aspect of mining my own resources and obtaining certain things. And I'll be the first to admit, yeah, I've duped a few things, where I just don't have time and I need some materials fast, and I'll just quickly dupe some things, or but for the most part, I play a vanilla game. If you were to hover over my character, you notice I still have the Atlas star or the Atlas diamond over
Yeah,
my
yeah,
name.
yeah. I don't know what's above
I
my head, to be
that's
honest. It's creative, I think.
you've yeah, I believe it's a creative or the ratchet, wrench, and
Yeah, it's creative,
tools.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I generally like to play vanilla, nothing too fancy. Although I have been thinking of making some changes to some of my other saves to accommodate for possibly some less combat. Some of the recent updates have brought more combat, which I'm less interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I may make some changes to accommodate for that. But for the most part, I do like the game as its vanilla state.
Yeah, I can see that, especially because No Man's Sky never felt like a real combat game, and a lot of people started playing it, never got into it as well. I also feel that the combat in No Man's Sky is still very
Lacking.
yeah, clunky. Weird mechanics and stuff like that, which makes it not that much of a satisfactory mechanic. More frustrating sometimes. So I think both these kind of also sometimes make the fighting, the combat pointless in No Man's Sky, I think.
Yeah,
Even
it's
if you want to do PvP,
yeah, it's extremely challenging to make it fair for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's a group out there that do a really, really good job in bringing the PvP side of No Man's Sky, where combatants can fight against each other,
Mm-hmm.
and they've done a really good job of creating arenas and maintaining a level of fairness,
Yeah.
amongst the group where people they compete without mods, and you're basically using the weapons that you're able to obtain from the game without modding them or changing them, using only the upgrades that are available in the game. So it's it's very, very difficult, and I've seen them struggle to maintain that fairness. When the update first came out, there were some changes, and I think PC had an advantage at one point. They had to make some adjustments for that. But the group that I'm talking about would be the Ultimate Food Company, and they've done some really, really good things to try and bring PvP into the game and make it fair and fun for everybody. It isn't really my preferred way of playing, and as you said, No Man's Sky was never really designed for PvP. It's more of an exploration game, and so every update that comes out that brings more combat into it, sometimes I kind of cringe a little bit and be like, I'd really like to explore the planets. That being said, there has been some exploration components that have been brought to the game that have been updated. And I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with the Discoveries page, but the Discoveries page
there's definitely
some major improvements, and I think that really helps people discover and explore, and that can also go a long way with communities and discovering things together. So but yeah.
Now, what I meant with no combat in No Man's Sky is more like there was no combat in No Man's Sky when you started. There was a bit of combat, but it was over in a bit. There was no real. So a lot of the players have become used to the fact there was no combat in No Man's Sky, and now adding the combat probably turns off a lot of the players. Like, you know what, this is not a game I want to play. Blah 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 blah. If it would have been part of the original gameplay, then it would have maybe been different. But I can see, why some players are turned away from No Man's Sky because of the combat. While it does add a fun challenge in the end, I did really enjoy Sentinels and Outlaws and the updates that focused on that. So They
Yeah, there's
always, you
the
know,
PVE aspect. Yeah, the
yeah.
PVE aspect of it. It's it always had a small element, of a freighter battle, some pirates here or there. It was never that difficult. It was just sort of part of the game. You warp into a system, and oh look, there's pirates. Um, it's definitely gotten a lot heavier, and they've introduced it a lot more frequently, and so it happens an awful lot more where you're entering into freighter battles or pirates or now we've got an awful lot of combat, on these the new planets. Forgive me for not having the word right out on the top of my head here.
Dissonance.
The dissonant planets. Thank you. I knew it started with a D. So there's an awful lot more involved in that. You enter into that, and you're in for a good hour of shooting stuff up. Until you can sort of get things sort of straightened away, hack the code, and move forward. So they've made a lot of improvements, and added a lot of things, some favorable, some not so much. But I think they're trying to cater to the newer generation of players out there as well,
Yeah.
because we all know that the HG doesn't charge for updates. Their revenue relies on new purchases of the game, right? People who are buying it off of Steam, buying the off of PlayStation, Xbox, and so on, and Nintendo Switch. And so, without microtransactions or a way of generating revenue, they have to cater to the new generation of players who are going to be buying the game for the first time. And that generation likes to shoot stuff. And so, so they kind of have to, make the game
Yeah.
attractive for them, right? And so we've got this mixed group of people where you've got this the older generation, the younger generation, and they're trying to cater to everybody and make everybody happy. And then of course there's the builders to throw on top of that as well, because that's a whole new category within the game. So it's really hard for a small dev company or small dev group in the HG to accommodate everybody, to it. So how do you generate revenue? Well, there's a couple of different ways, and they've chosen this path, and that's how they're going about it. Is they're making the game attractive to the younger generation, and combat is the way to go.
Yeah, I think also they have now come to a point where that No Man's Sky is worth its value as money wise.
Definitely.
I think now the updates also are more of a refresher. Every time an update drops, it's a refresher for people. Have you checked No Man's Sky now? It's definitely something you should try out. So I'm not sure what the next update will be. I'm assuming it might not be as focused on combat this time, although it does feel like we're going into an ominous part of the game. But I'm hoping we will see something more focused on, discovery, exploration, being surprised with, new things. That would be nice. And I think that might be definitely a part of the update next time.
Yeah. Well, we're also seeing a change in how they used to bring the expeditions to us. Before, it was a random expedition, giving us a taste of different aspects of the game and how to play the game different ways. And we've sort of seen a little departure from that, and now we're on to a development stage of they're developing a lore or an actual storyline that is adjacent to what we're already doing in No Man's Sky, with some tie-ins to some lore as well. I believe it was Expedition 9 and Expedition 10. They sort of work together with their storyline there, and they're creating something that seems to be almost a side story that goes along with No Man's Sky as well. So that's fairly exciting as well to see some new things like that. Because I think we're all asking, like, where are they going with expeditions? What's the next one that's going to come out, and what are they going to have us do now? Right? Because it got to be another expedition almost carbon copy of the missions that you had to do, only we were doing them in different fashions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the only real exception of that one was like collecting poop. Um, but we always saw shooting sentinels. We always saw you had to kill so many pirates, and scan a certain amount of plants, scan a certain amount of flora and fauna. Um, there was always certain missions that were always the same, and now we're starting to see a little bit more of a departure on that, with the exception of shooting sentinels. That still exists. So, combat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, right. They're actually developing something, as a continuation of the next one that comes out is a continuation of the storyline, and I think that's really good, in terms of how to keep people interested in playing the expeditions, instead of the same old thing sort of rewrapped under a pretty bow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm wondering what the next thing will be now. We know that we are on part 2 of this update, this sequence of updates. I'm not sure if it's going to be an update. We're going to get another expedition. Are they all going to be expeditions? I am a little bit confused on. They did say that this is going to be a bigger year than 2022, so we should see a massive update if it's the big year for No Man's Sky.
Yeah, and we've seen some leaked information as well, right? I mean, remember, it wasn't too long ago we saw those fancy new space stations that were leaked. Whether or not that comes to fruition in the next year or two, it's hard to say. You never really know when it comes to those data mined leaked images and things like that. What we can say for certain is there will be more expeditions that will continue the storyline. Because to leave that and just to depart from that whole thing, it seems like a waste in my opinion. So I think that we're going to see more of the storyline continue with expeditions. I'm expecting the next couple of updates to be expeditions. They do tend to do them in groups of twos and threes, every 6 weeks or so, and then of course they'll take a break and do an update of actual content and not expedition content. Um, and yeah, right. I mean, they we're starting to see coincidences within the updates, things that are talked about, and then now we start to see them out there. We saw it with living frigates and other things like that. Capes. A lot of people were talking about capes. And then all of a sudden, capes were released. Which, interestingly enough, I thought they fixed that. I still don't see capes.
I think they said it in one of their fixes. No capes, no show or whatever.
They did.
I don't know. No.
Yeah, they did. That they're supposed to be able to be seen. I still don't see them on my PS5, and I've got the new console.
I don't see them on PC as well. So
yeah, so that needs to be fixed. I mean, come on, HG, I've got a video I'm waiting to produce here. I need capes. So capes or robes, give me one of the two, but I need to see them. But yeah, right. So there's some things they need to work on. Personally, I would like to see an update that is not necessarily an update, but a massive patch fix. Possibly even containing a reset the universe. But there's a few bugs in the game which are still lingering, which it's been talked about before. I'd really like to see that occur, where they go through and they fix all these old problems. Like Purple Fire, for example. I'd like to see all these little fixes done, and the game brought to us in a little bit more of a healthy manner. And maybe they need to expand on the experimentals a little bit with having more of the community and other consoles take part in something that is known as beta, beta spoilers or beta release, where people can take part and play the beta and make suggestions on the problems that they see, so that they can work on those before the actual release of the game. I'm not sure, I'm no dev, but I'd like to see some of those fixes take place because I know a lot of people have really been very patient and loyal with the game, and they deserve to have some of those bugs, which have really annoyed them for years in some cases, sort of addressed. So.
They've been really focusing on a lot of the like memory leaks and optimized memory. They did quite a lot of fixes that were things that I mean, the fixes are words for the moment. We still need to check if that happens because they fix the capes, they fix this, and it still comes back. But they do seem to have been focusing a lot on like bug fixes in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that comes with the age of a game, right? So you've got a game file, right? And the older that file gets, the more that little bugs sneak into it, and they have to go through and fix them. And it's a lot of work. It's not underestimate that. It's a lot of work to go through those game files and fix those bugs.
Make them work together. That's the problem.
That's right. New technology versus old technology, new coding versus old coding, and making those adjustments. When it comes to memory leaks and problems like that, usually, that's because of age, right? Age of the game. And I don't mean like old man, Alzheimer's kind of thing. I mean, the game itself and the code is old. And so you make an adjustment or a fix on something and it affects several things down the line.
Yeah.
A lot of it with memory and saving. So, they've got a lot of work ahead of them. And perhaps, it's time Sean Murray add more members to his No Man's Sky dev group.
Yeah.
In terms of, doing the work that is necessary to maintain it. So, sure, we can all sit here in the back seat and spout all these ideas and orders and things like that. But when it comes to the actual, managing of his company, that's a whole different story how he budgets that.
But that's the money. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the next game brings enough money in that allows them to focus more on No Man's Sky. Maybe that's their focus now.
We're still waiting for the new one. They've been talking about a new game that HG is going to be bringing out or releasing. We still haven't seen anything. I believe it was the last Campfire was the last game they put out, and a re-release of Joe Danger, which I don't know if anyone really took that seriously. Yeah, it's a mobile game. I don't know if very many people took that seriously, but
it's not my kind of game. So
yeah. So we're still waiting for the release of whatever new game that HG is working on. But whatever it is, he's got a large group of people. The majority of his staff are working on that new game. So, we'll see where that leads.
I mean, once that is done, they can sit back and focus on probably fixing their new game as well. And maybe also spending some time on No Man's Sky more, splitting their attention before they jump into a new game, because that's probably going to be,
I do wonder if they're letting No Man's Sky run its course before releasing the new game. It's hard to say.
The thing is, I don't think No Man's Sky is now bringing any more money in, at least not enough money in to still sustain the group that is working at the studio. So I think they will have to focus more on their new game.
On existing. Well, see, that's the funny thing, right? So they may not be bringing in an awful lot of money on the existing consoles and devices out there, which I think is why we're starting to see them, release the game on other devices and consoles like the Switch, like the Mac, and fingers crossed, also iPad as well. But I don't know if there's any more consoles or devices that are really available to release the game to. I can't think of any. Is Atari making a comeback?
No, I don't think so. At least I don't know. I don't think so.
Hey, I used to have an Atari. I loved that machine. So yeah, I mean, a lot of their new revenue is coming from these new releases on these other devices and platforms. So, how much longer can I keep that up in generating revenue without the using microtransactions? Which, by the way, I'm not
Opposed
adverse
to
to that.
yeah.
I'm not opposed to it. If it's done the right way, which it's hard to say that it'll happen that way, but if it is done the right way, paying for content isn't always a bad thing.
Mm,
Um, take building for example. Okay, so you pay for a builder's package, which would be we'll just say $20. Okay, and that would entitle you to X number of things in
mm,
this new updates release of things. Now, how often would you be willing to pay that $20? Would it be every 6 weeks? Would it be once a year? Would it be every month? That's hard to say. And there's a lot of other games out there that they offer skins for weapons and things like
mm,
that. And $5.99 for a skin for a rifle, or those Call of Duty types of games. So like there are ways of doing it without gouging your clients or the people who play the game. But I think a lot of people have come forward and said, yeah, if I had to pay for the new update coming out, I would, because it would mean that they would release it without as many bugs, and they would be more obligated to have that
yeah.
component to the game, the addition,
Yeah.
put out properly without all the bugs and
And,
without all the issues that we see every time an update comes
mm,
out. So,
but I think that's also the reason why we won't see microtransactions on No Man's Sky, because they don't want to feel
yeah,
obligated. They do feel obligated anyway to the community, but they don't want to put the monetary obligation into it, I think. Because just imagine dropping an update that just completely and utterly fails.
and that's happened before, and that's
yeah,
happened before as well.
yeah,
Where
that's
huge uproar within the community.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it just destroys all the goodwill you have built up again. I think they decided we are not gonna. I mean, it might happen, but I really think that is not something they're gonna do. No, it's
I think
will.
with better communication.
Yeah.
I mean, I know why they don't communicate with their fans. They've had a really rocky road when it comes to communicating with their fans on the release of new content within the game. I think with a bit more communication and the PR, it could be done a little bit better. And it may have softened the blow on some of those updates, which have really not made a lot of the community members happy. I could think in the last year or so, there was an update that came out that really upset a lot of people. Personally, I thought that update was good and needed, and it was a fantastic update that really made things a lot smoother in a sense. But a lot of people just did not like it, and they were extremely vocal about it. And I think with some communication and a little preparedness, a lot of those people who were vocal about it may not have been quite as vocal, and may have accepted the what was coming a lot easier had they had time to prepare or what have you. Um, so, I mean, there's a lot of things that we can say that could be better, but we're not the ones driving the ship. So
There's a good point that ANCAP makes as well there, and that is one of the reasons I think, for example, like in-game economics don't exist between players, is because of cheats and save editors. And so let's say that you can get a skin and you pay for it, and another person just uses save editor to get it into a game.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a
little bit of a hack, and that can be a problem.
So that means they have to make, they have to put like a shielding program into it so that they can double check if somebody paid for it or not. It's adding a lot more work. Yeah.
Oh, don't get me wrong. There's a lot that needs to be put into it. Should they introduce something like microtransactions? It's not something you just suddenly say, "Oh, hey, we're charging this for now." There's a lot that needs to be added to the coding of the game just to accommodate something like that. But I mean, how do you want to generate your revenue, and how long do you want to take the game for? Right? Do you expect the game to last, say, we'll just say 10 years, round number? And if so, then you have to find a way to generate revenue up to that 10-year mark before moving on to another game and just calling it quits. Or do you want it to last longer and create microtransactions or other ways of generating revenue, which would entail a lot of work with coding in the game, but would also ensure money coming in on a regular basis, which also helps fund not just the game itself, but other games that the developer team would be working on. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways of managing those, the revenue that comes in, and how do you, which method do you use to generate it? Right now, what they're doing is working, but you got to ask yourself, how long is that? That going to last, right?
How many more people are going to buy it?
How many more people are going to buy it, and how many more consoles are there out there to adapt to? I think we've pretty much reached the limit of consoles and PCs and mobile devices that are available to play on. Right now, I believe iOS and Android phones are really the final frontier. After that, I don't know where else they can go. There is no other device out there that I know of. Xbox has been covered, PlayStation has been covered, PC has been covered. We've got the Switch, Steam Deck. What am I missing here? There's something else, isn't there?
Mac, PC, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch. Yeah. But Steam and PC, Steam and Steam Deck are kind of the same because they are. Steam Deck is just running PC stuff.
That's right. Yeah, but it is a mobile device and needs to be, developed a little bit differently. So yeah, I mean, if there's any other devices out there, then hopefully they find them and can make sales upon them. Otherwise, we might start to see it, things tail off a little bit. Hard to say. It really is. Nobody ever thought this game would last 7 years. And nobody ever thought that they would make improvements the way they have to make this game not just what it was envisioned, but much further past the point of how it was envisioned. We have gone way, way further than ever expected. When I think back to some of the original, advertisements of the game never did reach that level of what I fell in love with originally when I saw those trailers. It never did reach that level. It started to go that way in adding content, and then they took a different road and started moving towards a more realistic factor. The colors of the game became an awful lot more less pastel and more, I guess, bold. Realistic, if you want to call it that, or bold. It was less nostalgia, more geared towards a space game instead of some of those memories that we drew from so many other space movies that we saw growing up and things like that. So we've seen it go a long way, and they've taken it really, really far. Like I don't think anybody expected as much content to be delivered. So
yeah, I think that's also why I'm thinking that we are reaching to the end of, at least I feel like this is an end of a season for No Man's Sky. I always have been under the impression that they are not going to give up on No Man's Sky, but I think they will probably take a break where they focus on their new game, release it, fix it, maybe update it if it's necessary, and then once that game is properly running, they come back to No Man's Sky and say, here is a DLC now for No Man's Sky, which is paid. That could happen because then they also learn a lot of lessons. Then their team can focus again on both of the games, but more divided.
It might generate new life.
Yeah. Because now, as all the platforms have been covered, I don't see a lot of people. I mean, Apple Mac is not the gaming platform. There are gamers, and I did play games on my MacBook, but it's not the gaming medium. Apple, they're trying to. They are planning even to make their own studio, but that's still in the future. So I think that No Man's Sky, now having covered all the platforms, kind of is on the point where there's not going to be any income anymore from selling games. So after this year, I think everybody is going to have No Man's Sky, or they don't want to play it.
Yeah, I think we've sort of reached that sort of, the end state where there's nothing left to advertise and to release it onto. And so where do you go from there, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can release, maybe some expeditions, a couple times a year to try and keep those fans entertained. But I don't know about like heavy new content. Designing parts, building parts. That takes an awful lot of work to design and code that stuff. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if we'll see a huge increase in building parts, and that's just one example. I'm not saying that's it, but that's just one example of content that is released to the community. If they don't have a revenue, well, they can't pay people to do the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, hard to say. And I mean, I never thought it would go this long.
No,
Honestly,
true.
I thought it would be about a 3 or 4 year lifespan of this game, and things would move on. What I do see an awful lot of is the communities are also assisting and driving the game as well, and they
Mm-hmm.
maintain a certain level of excitement for the game. And a lot of people, don't necessarily play the game anymore, yet they take part in the communities and communities
Mm-hmm.
activities. A new expedition will come out, they'll play it, then put the game down for a couple of months until the next expedition or the next, update with content comes out. And they'll play it for a few weeks and put it back down again. And I think the
Mm-hmm.
game is slowly gearing towards that level of gameplay, where
Mm-hmm.
it's played for a few short weeks. When a new thing is brought in, and then it's put down for a little while, and you come and go and come and go. Um, like you said, there is no real economy system, so you're not really losing out on content. You're not really
Mm-hmm.
losing out on you know falling behind on things. You can pick up this game after not playing it for a year, and yes, there is some new things, but the game is still inherently the same.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you still have millions of units, and you still have all those nanites, and you still have all the quicksilver that you've saved up over those time. You just go and spend it and earn some more.
Mm-hmm.
So and if that's not good enough for you, well, there's hundreds of different ways of duping or save editing, all that stuff. Anyways, you're not really losing out on not playing for a couple of months. And that might be how they go is they're sort of geared up for the new things, and then they prepare for the next installment,
Mm-hmm.
whenever that might be.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure how well, for example, their merch store is doing. Uh, I don't know if this is something that they can say this is a good way of getting income. So I feel like No Man's Sky is running to a point where the influx of money has definitely reduced. I don't think both Nintendo and Mac will cover the costs that have been covered by PlayStation, Xbox, and PC and Steam. Especially after
Yeah,
pretty rocky issues with the Switch lately as well. So
yeah. I mean, when I remember, it was released out to markets over, overseas,
mhm,
and the Asian market, or was sort of tapped into, and that brought a lot of revenue of people who were purchasing the game on those consoles and on PC mostly. And we saw a huge influx of new players and game content. And this is a few years back now, right? And that brought a huge increase in revenue. I don't even know if there's parts of the world now that they can advertise to and release it to that would appeal to the buyers out there in that market. So,
mhm,
like you said, that I think we're reaching a cap where
yeah,
there's really not much left to generate that revenue on, and we may start to see it, things, slow down a little bit. Um, Personally, I'd love to see No Man's Sky just continue on forever, because it's been a great game and a great community. And there's an awful lot of really good friends that I've made over the years, just playing this game and interacting within the communities. So I think that will live on,
mhm,
even in its most lessened state that you can imagine. But as far as game content being released, we may see a slowdown quite a bit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's a logical. I mean, if they do continue doing that, chapeau and sane. But I feel it's a very logical assumption that this might happen. Yeah, but doesn't matter. I'm looking forward to what they're gonna deliver next. If we can believe the leaks, they are already in alpha state with the new game, so that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they start. When did they first mention that? I think it was Sean Murray in the Beyond interview when they talked
Oh,
about
geez, it was
Beyond.
a long time.
So
Yeah, it was a long time ago now. They've been
that's
working on their game.
4 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And he talked already as if they already were pretty well working on it. So let's say they were working on it a year. That's, let's say, 5 years in development. A game takes about what, 6 to 7 years to be, depending a bit on what is the game, of course. 6 to 7
Typically,
years. So
yeah.
it sounds pretty reasonable that 2023, 2024 might be the time to either release or tease the game. So we'll see.
Yeah. Or start to promote it. Yeah, or starting to promote it.
Yeah.
Once you start promoting a game, you're basically generating revenue to upon release of that game.
Mhm.
So, and that'll decide how well the release goes, and then once the game drops, how that goes, right? And I think they've learned an awful lot of really good lessons on how to release a game.
Yep.
Now, I mean, let's not forget that they had some issues, right?
No.
On the release of No Man's Sky.
No,
Right?
I think their main lesson is probably they are going to be going completely indie.
Silent.
This
Indie and silent.
Yeah, they are. I do not think they are involving any Sony or Xbox or Microsoft or whatever. They are building this game on their own. Then they will use the platforms to publish their own game. Yeah, I think that's their biggest lesson they have learned.
Yes, yeah, because those platforms, they play hardball, and if you don't meet that date, there's hell to pay. So yeah, that was definitely a detriment. In the development of No Man's Sky initially was being linked up with a platform which they've got their rules. You sort of have to follow them if you're under contract with them. So that was definitely a detriment. And of course, a lot of loose lips, a lot of promotion towards something that it could have been if maybe they didn't have a flood that destroyed all the data that they had to work on. So that I mean, they kind of had to start fresh, and they put a game together in 6 months. Yeah, it was a very different game, and there wasn't a lot to it. But they put a game together in 6 months. Like, a lot of people forget that. They actually released a game from start to finish in 6 months, whereas most games take, what were we just saying, 6 to 7 years?
Well, on average, it's 6 to 7 years, yeah.
Yeah, so, and then they've just made improvements on it, each year, another huge update to make improvements, and they've won multiple awards on the game. So,
I mean, the
HG
engine
has done some amazing things.
The engines they are using is their own engine, no? Or am I confused with that now?
No, it is their own engine. I believe they've made some adaptations to their own engine as technology has improved over the years. But it is their own procedural generated engine, and they were the first to use it, develop it, and make it what it is today. Right?
Now,
there are other games now.
What I was just thinking is, I mean, does that include the creation of No Man's Sky? Did that include their own engine? Because if that is the case, then their next game probably will use the same engine or an upgraded version. But that means that the work that they put in there is now, can be used for their next game as well, which is it takes away a little bit of the time that they had to spend compared with No Man's Sky.
I think they're going to use an upgraded version of what they've already used. That's what made them really initially famous, was that they created a whole new way of gaming by using procedural generation.
No.
Still to this day, we see games released where it's not procedurally generated. There's an
Mm-hmm.
RNG factor to it, but when a map is released, it's a giant map of a thing, and everything is set in stone on that map. All the
Mm-hmm.
things are there. Whereas in No Man's Sky, it doesn't exist until you fly up on it and see it for yourself. And now it's generated into the servers as
Mm-hmm.
that is now a thing in that game. Um, and that's a really really cool thing to be able to know that and to experience it yourself. That you're the first
Mm-hmm.
person to experience that, and that really played into the whole exploration factor because you could fly into a planet not knowing what's there, and you're the one who's actually really discovering it, like
Mm-hmm.
really discovering it. It's never been discovered before, so that
Yeah.
really always appealed to me. That really appealed to me when I first bought the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we've seen some really amazing updates that go along with that, some new biome updates and things like that. A lot of people want to see more with the biomes. They want to see water and lava and all these things. um, but if you were to think to yourself, what would it take to create, for example, realistic water or a waterfall in the game? um, Coding wise, that is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, they also need to change how the terrain forms and how water reacts to the terrain. It's not an easy thing.
Exactly. That is an
Um,
absolute nightmare. So I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon.
mm-hmm. No, I think especially that depends a bit on how you look this also and what perspective. I think if you look this as a gamer, you look to No Man's Sky as a gamer, then that's a different perspective than if you look to the game as a developer. I think No Man's Sky Hello Games has been a pioneer in a lot of techniques that have been used in this game that now are being copied, cloned, used by other developers, and I think Hello Games has definitely set an example of what games can and should be. I think it was a lot of people, saying Starfield. It's like No Man's Sky. Maybe I don't know. I don't want to draw that conclusion. But a lot of people
I
are
think
saying
really,
that they drew lessons as well from how the game was created in No Man's Sky.
I think the fact that it's a space game is really the only
Yeah.
similarity.
Yeah.
And the game engine they had to develop their own game engine that is
Mm-hmm.
procedurally generated because HG is not just going to give up on the rights, the copyrights for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's theirs. So other people are going to have to write their own technology for that,
Mm-hmm.
and it may be a great game. I'll never know because I'm really not all that interested in it. But
You can watch my streams.
Yeah, thank you. No Man's Sky is more my style and always has been, and I've always really liked what No Man's Sky had to offer in its open sandbox of video gaming with 100 quintillion planets, 256 galaxies. There's just so much there to explore, and that's the key word in my opinion is explore. Um, I like to explore. I like to, find things. I used to be a bit of a ship hunter back in the day. Not so much anymore. I've gotten into the base building, but I still love going out and exploring planets. There are times when I don't feel like building, and I'll just warp to a random system and just start discovering creatures. Those little red dots, man, I got to turn them green. So I like exploring. I like seeing the new things. I like seeing all kinds of creatures and stuff. And they added flora to the game that is all different too, right? It's not all the same stuff, just procedurally generated in different ways. They've actually added some new content in terms of some flora that's out there. Some of those caves are unbelievable, and they seem to keep developing the caves to make them even more immersive. So, really awesome stuff. And I'd like to see more of it, to be honest with you. I think this last update was a step in the right direction in the exploring side of things. If you look at the discovery page, that says it all on what can be done in terms of exploration. You can start finding things that have never existed before, and you can record them in different ways. And that works great with communities as well. If you're part of a community, you can use some of that information and I don't know, create a wiki or a book style kind of a format of things. Um, you know, I think back in the early days of the settlers and the new lands and Earth. People were drawing pictures and writing notes on plants they discovered in the new lands that they
Hmm.
came to. So like it's kind of reminds me of those days. In No Man's Sky, that we can fly to a new planet and discover new things. And they have all these interesting little notes that are on them now. So
Mm.
really a good step forward, and I think that's there's more of that to come.
Mm. So yeah.
Hey, I just read Old Explorer. 1,170 planets complete. Nice job, buddy. Nice job. That's definitely a feat. That's an awful lot of animals to scan, and those of
Yep.
you that is what they come for. That's something very, very special to accomplish. Um, Scanning that many creatures and that many planets to your credit. And those will always stay in the Discovery system. Those are all yours.
If they don't
Congratulations to you.
reset. If they don't reset.
If they don't reset. If they do, well, you'll just have to discover another 1,000 more. Which I think you're happy to do, because if you got to 1,000, you'll get to 2,000, and you'll get to 3,000, and you'll just continue doing it, because that's how you enjoy the game. And yeah, I haven't even checked on my list to see how many I've scanned. A lot of it is because I have so many saves that it's really hard to keep track of how many planets
Mm-hmm.
I've scanned, done 100% zoology on. So it's hard to track that. But yeah, that's a part of the game I really love doing too, is
Mm-hmm.
scanning all the flora, fauna, and things like that. And there's more reasons to do that now, just because they added that one little thing in the notes page. So I think
Yeah.
that's
And
definitely a step in the
these
right
wonders
direction
you
for
can
exploration.
put yourself. No, there's these wonders, personal wonders. I think you can put yourself in there.
Yeah.
And then there's
Yeah, I believe
the
you
ones
can.
that you discover, just like this is the smallest planet, this has the most radiation.
Yeah, highest peak on this
Mm-hmm.
planet, smallest planet in the system, all these recorded, things that are
Mm-hmm.
now in the discovery menu. There's a lot of really cool things that are there, and I know my own community is working on things that enhance that whole exploration side. And I won't release an awful lot of information about that, but definitely look to Twitter to see more of what's being done with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's coming really soon. So I think that really embraces the community and working together aspect within the communities that play this game. So
Well, I think that was a good chat.
yeah.
We'll have to invite Kyle over next time.
I'm looking forward to it.
Then, but maybe by the meantime, I have some lights fixed into the other things, and I moved the chairs a bit so we have a little bit of a better visual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. Moving those chairs forward just a little bit to make it a little bit more homely. Maybe that's why Kyle said he's not going to be here for a while. He wanted to sit in the new studio.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not sitting in that old studio.
Joking aside, no, he probably just
No,
got a few,
he changed the time. He did write the wrong times down, and he had to go in a meeting now, so he wasn't able to join. So all all right, no worries.
Yeah, we'll catch up with him next time, and I'm looking forward to it. Those of you who don't know Kyle Culver, he's a content creator. He's been doing it since the beginning of No Man's Sky and before No Man's Sky even existed. Definitely check out his content, familiarize yourself with some of his stuff, and you won't be disappointed. I'll tell you right off the bat, you won't be disappointed. He is a fantastic content creator and a lover of No Man's Sky. He's done some amazing things. So,
I think
and he's a good friend.
Did he not do like a David Attenborough documentary as well? I think.
Yes,
that was him. No, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was one of the first people to actually do one of those documentaries.
Yeah.
And then the doorway thing that we've seen a few people do. Where you walk through a doorway to a different world. He was one of the first people to make a video like that. The guy. He's just an amazing content creator. His vision is rock solid. I can't say anything bad about him. Honestly, I really can't. I've always loved his work and the things that he's done. And as a content creator myself, somebody who enjoys film work and editing, I've always looked up to Kyle in the things that he does, and I'm looking forward to telling him that to his face. So,
all right. I think we're going to close off here for today.
Okay.
It's a good time, I think, for us to end off.
It is. We had a good hour and a half of talking about the game, the ARG, and what's to come in the future of No Man's Sky. So,
yep. And we'll look forward to what's happening. I mean, we have an extra week on the expedition. I think it will end. I don't know how long it's lasting now, but I think it was 19th of July, I think.
We didn't even address that. Yeah, we didn't even address that. So an extra week with the expedition. Those of you who are running a little behind or haven't done it yet, give it a check, a look-see. It's more of a continuation, and it's I think it was a little bit better than the last expedition, where it continues a storyline and adds a little bit more to the game. I think it's going to pair really well, Christmas time when they do the redos of them all, where you can link the two in a much closer time period. You can play one and the other one back to back, right? And really get a feel for the continuation of the storyline. So, I think that's the way they're going to go with the expeditions. And I'm really glad that they added an extra week on there to accommodate a lot of the people who haven't really completed it yet. There's been a lot of games that have been released lately and have taken the attention away from No Man's Sky. So I think doing that will really help a lot of people think twice about, maybe I should go and do the expedition. I got a whole week now to do it. So.
So yeah, definitely check it out if you have not done the expedition. You still have until the 19th, if I'm correct. You can check the No Man's Sky Assistant app, actually, I think. If Kurt is still here. Let me see if I check expeditions, 6 more days. So it ends at the 19th of... I'll just drop a link for people that are interested in it. This is the link to the No Man's Sky Assistant app. And there you will actually see the expedition, how long it still lasts.
And a great app too. It's very resourceful.
Yes, very useful. So remember on Saturday, I think it's both Ricey and Flowery. I'm not sure if anybody else is streaming, but both Ricey and Flowery will be streaming the Zoo Remember event. If you want to check them out, definitely subscribe to them. Press that notification bell. I will not be streaming on Saturday, just so that the attention can go to that stream. And I might join, depending a bit on how I feel. As I said, I do have a cold, and it doesn't seem to be improving. So I might be just completely sick by Saturday. But 5 p.m. UK time.
Yeah.
All right. Was that? No, 10 p.m. UK time. 5 EST. All right.
Oh, yeah. It works out to about 2 p.m. West Coast. Okay. Yeah. I'm sure we'll get notifications for it, and it'll probably be an all-day event, as it should be. So I'm looking forward to that as well, logging on and checking that out.
All right. Thank you so much, DJ, for being here. I hope you enjoyed our little chat today.
I did. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure chatting on Studio 16. And well, hey, just being candid with you and the viewers and everyone else. So we appreciate all of you who watched and listened to me ramble.
We will be back for another Studio 16, most likely next month. Again, the second Thursday of the month. Hopefully, if there's not an update, because if there's an update, then that means I might be focusing on that instead. I also will try, depends a bit. It might be that I don't do the base visits again, or I might have to shift around some times and dates. I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's going to be it. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a great weekend coming your way. And DJ, once again, thank you for being here as well. Anything else you want to say to the group in the background?
Thank you, everybody who took part in today's show, despite the technical difficulties or guest difficulties. Look forward to seeing you next month, and I really appreciate all of you. And never forget that is the phrase of the day, the phrase for the week. Never forget. We've got a lot of fallen travelers out there. You honor them by never forgetting. So let's keep that in mind as time moves forward.
Have an awesome one, guys. Appreciate you all being here. And with that, I'm saying goodbye to you all. Night night.
Take care, everyone.
Beeblebum. Beeblebum. Beeblebum.